what we are talking about tonight is the litmus test. And Joan said she can't see the 6 steps. And the reason why is I jumped the gun, Joan. I hadn't gotten there. So starting point, lesson 1 is with whom do I start? Number 2 is your 15-second commercial. Lesson 3 is use qualifiers and tie down questions. Number 4 is your personal and borrowed story. And in that, you want to watch the videos and do your self-training. You want to buy the Worth account if you have the ability to do so and you have debt. I will tell you this. If you have debt and you're selling this product, you should own this product. Tonight we'll be talking about the litmus test. And most of you know maybe from biology lab what a litmus test was, but we're going to show you what it is in sales track. And then step number 6 is setting that first appointment in stone. So I want you to understand this is only outlined about 10 to 15 minutes of initial conversation. When you set your appointment in stone, you can refer that to corporate or a field closer or run your own analysis and close your own deal. You still have those options. So the purpose of the litmus test is to determine your prospect's level of interest and desire to get out of debt. Now that seems a little different than most things. It's many times you're wondering, do they have the financial prowess to be able to buy the car, buy the house, invest in the insurance, things of that nature. Well, especially with the 250 starter package, the entry is pretty easy. We do also have finance. But if I told somebody they stood to save $80,000, $60,000, would it be worth anywhere from $2,200 to $3,500? And for me, it's all about building the value proposition. We've talked about catering your presentation to the individual. So where we are is we've gone through those 6 steps. They may not have been in order. You may have started off with a personal story because that's what engaged you with the client. Let me tell you, what do you do or how did this affect you? Maybe they heard about Worth and they're contacting you. Or you've been talking about Worth, they overhear you. So you may start with, well, let me just tell you my personal story with this. And then they say, well, what do you do for a living? So your 15-second commercial could actually come after your personal or your borrowed story. Then you could actually move into qualifiers and tie downs. It could actually be in order that you're just having a conversation about debt, and that's just kind of the way it's going, that they want to save the money for the college education or go on vacation or whatever that is. And debt is the topic, and you come right out of the gate with the litmus test just to kind of test the waters and see what it is. So we're going to understand the litmus test a little bit better as we go on. This will determine whether or not you continue with the prospect or just shake hands and move on to another topic, to another situation. It doesn't mean that you don't sell, but one thing that I always tell people here with this product, do not try to convince people that this is the thing for them. That's the quickest way to get egg on your face, is to just keep saying, well, just give it a try, or why don't you go in debt and buy it so you can see how it works? Or, you know what, you may not have a house right now, but why don't you go ahead and buy the product, even though it doesn't show great results, you're moving toward. Don't do that. Have integrity in what you do. Have honesty in what you do. There are enough people out there that are truly looking for a solution, that are truly looking for a way out, that you don't need to bend the arm. You don't need to make up stories. You don't need to exaggerate the reality of what this product is and what it does. The people that have been on the product, the people that use this product know what this product does. The people involved in the corporate office, that this has been their baby, John Mashenko and Skylar Whitman, since inception, the original creators of the product. They've never abandoned the product. They've never abandoned their clients. And that's a reality. And we are still going strong as a company, and we're still finding people. What we're seeing today is a more comfortability with the economy, but oddly enough, less control on spending. You would have thought people would have learned their lesson back in 2008 about living outside of their means. But with this new sense of security or feeling inside the economy, you're seeing that the doors are opening up, people are spending again, and people are standing out. So let's give you the first part of the litmus test. So Mr., Miss, Let's say you're using a scale of 1 to 5, okay? So this is your first question that you're asking your client. Maybe you were talking about debt and you're starting off with this, or maybe you've been through your first 4 steps and you're doing the 5th step now with the litmus test. 1 represents something that has no importance to you whatsoever, and 5 represents something that is absolutely imperative, something you absolutely need or want, okay? Everybody out there in the field got that? And you'd say to your client, okay, we got that. 1 means nothing. 5 is absolutely imperative. Where is your desire to get out of debt between 1 and 5? Now, doesn't that just sound like an incredibly simple question? I mean, when you really think about it, doesn't that just sound outrageously simple? You know, I had somebody say that to me about 5 years ago, and to be honest with you, I can't remember who it was that said that. This goes back to we borrow information from everybody, but when I first heard that, I was like, that's so simplistic, and it really kind of gets the point out there. You know, how serious are you about getting out of debt? Where are you on the scale? Where is this as a priority? So once you ask that question, and we say this all the time, and it is imperative in sales. I think many of you that have been in sales a long time, and it's actually been a hard thing. No matter how difficult it may be, remain silent and let them answer. It's kind of that state your case and be quiet. And I've done examples on calls before of being quiet for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and I'll have people actually go into the question section saying, I lost you. 15 seconds of silence is long. 30 seconds is even longer, but a minute of silence feels like an eternity. But if you've ever had a conversation with my wife is highly analytical, and she is very passive. I don't mean that she's just passive by nature, but she's passive in conversation. She's very calm. She's one of those people that people say is a very good listener, and they love talking to her. But if you ask her a question, you could wait 15, 30, 45 seconds while she's pondering what her answer is, and after waiting 45 seconds, you may actually get the response that says, you know what, I need to think about that. For somebody like me, you ask me a question, I'm going to respond to your question. It's just how I process information, but we have to remember that not everybody processes. Now, they may come back at you after that pause and say, well, what does 5 represent again? Answer the question. 5 is very important to you, and 1 means nothing, and be silent until they answer. If you get a negative response, I guess I'm about a 1 or a 2. They're not ready for the information. People are ready for information when they're ready for it, not when you're ready to give it. I want you to write that down. People are ready for information when they're ready for it, not when you are ready to give it. Getting out of debt is not on their radar at this point. If they're a 1 or 2, they don't want to face their own situation. That may be another possibility. Their debt is already managed well, or they may have no debt. Now, you could ask them right after that, can you, I understand that you're about a 1 or 2 on getting out of debt. Could you help me understand that a little bit better? Why is it only a 1 or 2? And you notice I posed that in an open-ended question. This allows them to elaborate. This allows them to talk. And many times people, when they talk through a situation, will realize that they don't have things as locked down or as centered as they thought they did. I happen to be a person, people have told me all this time, I process information through conversation. That's how I process it. I may start out with one thought, and then I rabbit trail all over the place because I'm trying to gather information. And while I'm gathering that information, I'm processing that information to come up with a conclusion, a direction. I'm a person that believes it's better to take some action than no action at all. It's the old concept of some people make things happen, some people sit by and watch things happen, other people wonder what happened. And I am a firm believer that if you don't make a decision, decisions will be made for you just by time and just by not making the decision. So I'm an example of kind of a high A driver that's also a talkative person. So you put those two together and you get a person that's not a very good listener. And that's something that I've been working on. I've actually been being coached on that, and I think Joan would be very proud of me for getting coaching on that. But I've always been a teller, and I've processed information that way. Don't go any further if they start to get irritated. If you say, could you help me explain that? And they're like, well, it's really none of your business. Or they may say, I don't have debt. And, okay, you don't have any debt. Do you know anybody that does? So anybody and everybody that you come in contact with has that concept of either they may be a client for you, they know people you don't know, they may want additional income. So it may be a situation that you flip it from getting out of debt to the litmus test can apply in recruiting. Okay, we were having a recruiting conversation. You said you want extra income. You would like to pick up your own business, do it part-time or do it full-time. You're looking for a career change. On a scale of 1 to 5, how important is that career change, the extra income, to your current situation? Am I making sense here to everybody? When we give these trainings, I want you to think about it in both sides of the box, that just about everything we're telling you, these first 6 steps that we are doing are not just sales, they're recruiting as well. Because you have to make your conversation pertinent to the individual you're talking to. You have to make it topical. You have to make it, what's the word? Relevant to the individual you're talking to. So asking questions initially, trying to define what they're looking for is the true key to sales, to know if you go in the direction of selling the product or you go in the direction of recruiting. Or what about this? What if they say, you know what, I really do want to get out of debt and I want to become an agent, and so I want to buy the product for myself and I want to be an agent, but I want to learn how to use it, and then I want to, or it could go the other way around. An MC came back and said, well said, Mac. We should not be drawing a defining line between do we recruit to sell or sell to recruit. We should be looking at the need of the consumer. If we ask these questions up front, if we ask the hard questions, if we ask the probing, open-ended questions, people are going to direct you as to what is important to them. They will give you what I call the keys to the city. And what that basically means is they are telling you exactly why they're there, what they're looking for, what they're trying to accomplish. So after they have responded, move off with something, if it was negative. If your situation ever changes and you would like to know more, feel free to reach out to me. Maybe you took a sidebar and got them back interested. But what we don't want you to do is wasting a lot of time talking to people that have no true interest in your offering, either as a sale of the product or as a prospect. Now, if you're just talkative by nature and you just want to continue the conversation, that's totally up to you. If getting out of debt ever becomes more of a priority for you, I'd like the opportunity to talk to you about that. Can we keep that door open? Let's move that over to recruiting. If your situation ever changes, you'd like a small business, extra income, you'd like to look at another opportunity, feel free to reach out to me, or may I have permission to reach out to you? Can I take your cell number? Can I take your email? People typically don't make decisions like right out of the gate. Many times they have to process the information over a period of time. Situations change for people. The person that said no today, 6 months from now, may be the best client you ever had. People's financial situations are always in flux. Always keep the door open for future conversations and stay in contact with your prospects until they ask you not to call anymore. That doesn't mean you badger them and they put you on a no-call list, but this is a key to sales success and direct sales. If you've got a name list, your database is the most valuable thing you have at your disposal. Dr. Joan Hackenstadt says that on just about every call that we talk about follow-up or we talk about your name list. Your database is what is most important. Those numbers you have in your cell phone, whether you believe it or not, are gold. Just getting over your fear and having the courage to call them is what will make the difference. So let's say we have a positive response on the side of sales or the side of recruiting. They say I'm a solid 3, 4, 5, or 6 for getting out of debt or starting my own small business. Move on to the second question of the litmus test. Now this was kind of the sealer. The first one's easy, 1 to 5, but you don't really know. They could say, oh yeah, I'm a 5, but then they never do anything about it. So I love that the litmus test is 2 parts. So here's the second part. Great. So you say you are a 4 on that scale. May I ask you another question? Are you serious, or are you just curious about getting out of debt, about starting a small business, about earning additional income, about doing what it takes to use a mathematical, scientific solution to getting you out of debt? In other words, all right, you told me you're a 4 or a 5. Are you serious about this? Are you serious enough that you would take a meeting with me? Are you serious enough that you would want to learn more? Are you serious, or are you just curious? So if they come back and say, I'm just curious, you could say, well, maybe we can visit that some other time when the timing is right for you. And that could be on sales and recruiting again, or we can revisit your situation when getting out of debt or starting a small business or earning extra income is more of a priority for you. Back that up with, can I get your name and your email? I promise you I'm not going to beat you up. I'm not going to send you 10,000 emails. I'm not going to post you to Facebook. I'm not going to send you every article I find. I'm going to use this for business. I would like to have the ability to reach out with, to you maybe once a month, once every 2 months. Just see how you're doing, because I've been in this business long enough to know that people's situations are always in flux. People's situations always change. So let's say you get a totally positive response. I am totally dead serious. I want to do this. Move directly into the next step of the sales track process. Don't belinger it. Don't go deeper unless they do. They could say, I'm totally serious. You could say something like, well, can you help me understand why you're so serious about this? Deb, what are you going to get out of them if somebody is serious about starting a small business, or somebody is serious about getting out of debt or taking control of their finances? We were talking about it in the review. Deb, what do you think you're going to get if you say, well, help me understand why you're so serious? What you're going to get is a personal story from an individual of why getting out of debt is so important, why starting a small business is so important. All of these conversations, this entire conversational language doesn't necessarily have to be an analysis you ran. It doesn't have to be a scripted scenario that you got from us. It could be something that you heard from someone you were talking to, that getting out of debt is so important today because so many people don't understand finance, so many people don't have retirement, and preparing yourself for that and getting yourself into position to have a prominent future is really what this is all about. Starting a small business, getting out of debt, financial literacy, banking like a bank, change you can be proud of, financial education. All of this plays into your personal and borrowed story, and it plays into your litmus test. So what's the first question? On a scale, Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, Ms., Miss, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 means nothing, 5 is absolutely imperative, where is your desire to get out of debt on that scale of 1 to 5? They answer, if it's a positive response, between a 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I need to ask you another question. You told me you're a 3, 4, 5, so it sounds like it's pretty important to you to start a business or get out of debt or do both. Are you serious about this, or are you just curious? They may look at you sideways and go, well, why are you asking me that? And say, well, because a lot of people say they want to do things, but they won't put the effort forward. Now, I'm not saying that's you, but I don't want to waste your time, and I surely don't want you to waste my time either. So I really need to ask you, are you serious or are you curious? If they come back and say, I'm dead serious, you say, help me understand that, and they go into a lengthy thing, they are reinforcing in themselves why this is essential. Don't hesitate. Don't, go right into action and set your appointment in stone. Let me get your name. Let me get your email. If you're doing your own analysis and your own closing, let's set up an appointment time. Let me look at my calendar right now. I know you've got a smartphone on you, so let's look in your smartphone and see what you have available and what I have available. Let's set a meeting. Let's set a meeting for the phone. Let's set a web conference. You know what? I'm brand new at this, but I have a leader that's been in this company for 10 years, the person that brought me in, or they've been in for 5 years, and they know this product better than me. Let's get them on the phone. Let's do a little three-way call, and let's set up an appointment where they can give you a webinar, where they can give you a PowerPoint. How about this? I know you have your smartphone. Take my phone number. Take my email. Give me a call right now so I've got your phone number here. Boy, if I'd have had that back in the days of dating, I would have never received a wrong phone number. I would have never written the phone number down wrong. I would have never had the phone number bleed out on a napkin that I put my cocktail on instead of putting it right in my pocket. The advent of the smartphone has made it so much easier to do business. So act right then. You could even say, you know what, I'm pretty new at this, but the corporate office has been doing this since 2005, and they have experts waiting on the line. Let's make a phone call directly to the corporate office. Let's set you up with a professional to run your analysis. That way I will never see your numbers, and then they can run through it for you. They'll give you your results, and if you like what you see, you can arrange with the corporate office to be activated on the program. When the iron is hot, you strike. When the timing is right, you take advantage of that timing. You don't belanger it and try to go through other steps. Summary, we need to know the level of commitment of our agent client prospects. That's important in our business. Always keep the door open for future conversations. Don't ever burn somebody. Don't ever get in an argument about the product. You're going to hear so many people tell you it doesn't work, I can do it on my own. Don't be offended by that. I just want you to understand something. Just by the stories you've heard here, the fact that this does it mathematically, the fact that this does it 24 hours a day, you are going to hear a lot of people that say, I can do this on my own, or it's just like sending extra money to my mortgage. Don't be offended. Ask them the question, why do you think that? Maybe ask them this question. Would you be willing to at least take a look at the program? Because I hear this 90% of the time, that people come back at me and say, I can do it on my own, or it's just like sending extra money. Now, I don't understand the mathematics personally well enough to overcome that for you, to tell you what the true difference is, but I assure you this. If I give you a demonstration of this product, or you watch a demonstration of this product, or I have my leader talk to you on the phone and they give you a demonstration of the product, or go through the ins and outs of the PowerPoint presentation and how this product works, I guarantee it will illuminate you why so many people start off with, I can do it on my own, it's just like sending extra money, and they end up either buying the product or becoming an agent and realizing the reality of the product, that this is not something in the same time frame that it would take you to operate this product that you could do on your own. Just remember, this product is working 24 hours a day. I'm segueing, this isn't part of the conversation. This product is operating 24 hours a day mathematically, scientifically, to find the quickest solution to zero out your debt. Move while the spirit is high and the desire is a priority. Strike while the iron's hot. When those people tell you it's a priority, when they're lit up about it, when they're ready to go, you need to be prepared to get going. Individuals, in closing, these are still part of my summary points, individuals are ready for information when they are ready, not when you are. Please keep that in mind. Don't just have one pitch. You won't get anywhere. Make your pitch relevant. Make your information relevant to the client. Never try to convince a prospect. Sell them. Give them the information. Allow them to make a decision, but convincing is quite different from selling. Selling is all about asking the right questions, about developing your value proposition, truly listening to the questions and answering those questions for the client in a manner that moves them forward. In closing, educate your prospect. Be direct and informative. Be clear and concise. These three things I just put up on the board just in themselves, because I really want you to concentrate on that. Our job is about educating our prospects. Be direct with your client. Don't talk around the horn. Don't throw a lot of nonsense in the game. Be informative. Give them the information that they desire to move forward and make a clear decision that they can live with. Be clear, be concise. Seek to serve your prospects' needs before your own. I love to call this the heart of a servant. If you're in financial services, you should be thinking about your client's needs first. If you're in insurance, if you're in banking, if you're in mortgage, if you're in real estate, if you're in anything that people are making a large purchase, you should be thinking about their needs, not your pocketbook. There is something well known as commission breath, and when you come across with just one sales pitch. You're not relative. You throw a lot of nonsense in the game. There's a lot of tricks to what you're saying and what you're doing. It becomes very obvious that the priority in that scenario is you. I will promise you, if you flip that switch and you put your client's needs before your needs, you will get back more than you ever could possibly hope for, and you will gain your prospects' respect and trust. And so many people ask me for the keys to closing, the keys to the city, and it is conversational rapport, having a conversation, gaining their trust, and then fulfilling their needs. Next week on Agent Sales Track Training, we will be going into setting your appointment in stone. During that process, I know we're going to have Joan on the call. I know we're going to have some more information coming in from Joan. If you have people that you need to invite to these calls, if you need people to get a bird's eye view of what the corporate office is, because many times sales training tells them a lot about the corporate office, and I really want you to think about this. Was there anything that I went over this evening that would offend a client or an agent prospect? And the answer is no, because prospects for client or product understand that they are purchasing something, and they understand that professionals are the individuals that are going to deliver that to them. Get your people engaged. I'm going to issue the same challenge that I issued last week. If you are on this call, I want you to make a note. I want you to make it a priority for this week for you to be on the call next week and invite 2 people to come on that call with you. If we do this and we keep this scenario going where it's you inviting 2, and then those 2 people on the call, we say we want you to invite 2, can you understand how rapidly this will explode? How rapidly we will grow as a company? And this is an ethical, moral, and true product that does make a difference in people's lives. If you need to get in touch with me, that's my contact information. If you need to get in touch with Worth Support, that is their contact information. I advise, if you have any questions for me about the presentation this evening, about how to get your hands on Joan's personal or borrowed story, her language that are involved behind that, the other thing you can do is you can always go to YouTube, and all you have to do in YouTube is type in search Worth Unlimited and then the name of the lesson. So for tonight's lesson, it would be Worth Unlimited Litmus Test. And it'll pull up that presentation. You have to give us a couple days to get that up, probably be up by Wednesday or Thursday, I would think at the latest. Last week, we talked about personal or borrowed story. So you would type in Worth Unlimited, personal or borrowed story. And you can pull these up on YouTube and review them. You can copy the links and share them with friends. I don't mind having our training out there, and as you notice, we do not charge for the training because we want you to be well trained. We want you to understand the product. We want you representing the company in a stellar fashion. So for everyone that was on the call tonight, from the top to the bottom, from everybody in our customer support all the way up to the owners of the company, from our field partners, our trainers on the call, Joan, thank you very much for your input this evening. Always a pleasure to have you on that. And we just want to thank you so much for jumping on the call for the Litmus Test training. And I don't really have a whole lot more to say other than I really hope that you all will take action where this product is concerned. And I'm going to go ahead and put my information back up on the screen and Worth Support. And as in my normal sign-off that I always do, let's get out there and do it big. Let's get out there and do it right. But at the very least, let's get out there and do something right now. This is Max Saunders saying bye-bye for now.